The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Commander Elena Vasquez stepped onto the crystalline platform. Around her, representatives from dozens of species watched with barely concealed disdain. The Zephyrians' metallic faces gleamed with superiority, while the insectoid hive queens clicked their mandibles in amusement. Even the ancient ethereals, beings of pure energy, pulsed with what could only be interpreted as condescension. "So," rumbled Warlord Kithax of the Draconian Empire, his scaled lips curling into a sneer, "this is humanity's champion? This small thing?" Elena stood perfectly still, her dark eyes scanning the assembly. At 5'6", she was indeed small compared to the towering aliens surrounding her. The Draconians averaged 8 feet tall. The Zephyrians were mechanical giants, and the hive queens' chitinous forms dwarfed most species. But Elena had learned long ago that size meant nothing in the void of space. "The human species requests membership in the Galactic Council," announced the ethereal speaker, its voice resonating through telepathic frequencies. "As per ancient law, their representative must complete the trial of worthiness. The trial was designed to be impossible for humans. Elena knew this. The Council knew this, and most importantly, they wanted her to know this. For 3 centuries, humanity had been knocking at the galaxy's door, only to be turned away as a primitive species, unworthy of recognition. The trial will test your species' military capability, strategic thinking, and will to survive," continued the speaker. "You will face our greatest champions in combat, command a fleet against impossible odds, and endure trials that have broken stronger species than yours." Elena nodded once. "I understand." Warlord Kithax laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "You understand nothing, little human. I have personally destroyed 3 star systems. My claws have torn through the hulls of 1,000 ships. What could you possibly do against me?" "We shall see," Elena replied quietly. The first trial began immediately. Elena was transported to a combat arena the size of a small moon, where she would face the Council's champions in single combat. The first challenger was a Hive Queen's warrior drone, its 4 arms ending in razor-sharp talons, its carapace harder than titanium. The drone rushed forward with inhuman speed. Elena sidestepped, drew her plasma blade, and in one fluid motion severed 3 of its arms before driving the weapon through its compound eyes. The creature collapsed in seconds. "Lucky strike," muttered a Zephyrian representative. The second challenger was a draconian berserker, 8 feet of muscle and rage. It breathed fire hot enough to melt steel and swung a warhammer that could crush mountains. Elena danced around its attacks, using her smaller size and superior agility to stay out of reach. When the berserker overextended on a massive swing, she vaulted onto its back and drove her blade between its skull plates. By the 5th fallen champion, the Council's murmurs had turned to concerned whispers. "How is she moving so fast?" hissed a Hive Queen. "Human reflexes are unexpectedly quick," admitted a Zephyrian analyst. Elena stood over the corpse of a Voidwalker, her armor splattered with alien blood, but her breathing steady. Next, the second trial transported her to a command ship at the center of a massive space battle. She was given control of a small human fleet, 50 ships against a force of 500 Council vessels. The alien commanders watched through Quantum Link, expecting to see her fleet annihilated within minutes. Instead, Elena did something no alien commander had ever considered. She ignored the rules of engagement. while the Council fleets arranged themselves in traditional battle formations. Elena's ships scattered like a swarm of angry insects. They used asteroids for cover, employed hit-and-run tactics, and targeted enemy supply lines instead of engaging in direct combat. When the alien fleets moved to pursue, they found themselves fighting ghosts. "This is not honorable combat," protested Warlord Kythax. "Honor is a luxury of the living," Elena replied over the comm channel as her ships systematically dismantled the enemy fleet's logistics network. Within 4 hours, the superior Council force was forced to retreat, their ships running low on fuel and ammunition, while Elena's fleet remained largely intact. The third trial was psychological torture, exposure to humanity's deepest fears and traumas through alien technology. They expected her to break, to beg for mercy, to prove that humans were mentally weak. Elena experienced the death of her homeworld, watched her family burn, felt the weight of every human life lost to alien aggression. The torture was designed to last days, to drive its subject to madness. She endured it in complete silence for 72 hours. When the trial ended, Elena stepped out of the neural interface chamber unchanged. The Council representatives stared in shock. "How?" whispered the ethereal speaker. "We showed you your species' extinction. We made you feel every death." Elena looked up at the gallery of alien faces, and for the first time she smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "You showed me why I'm here," she said simply. The transformation began immediately. Elena's muscles tensed, her pupils dilated, and something primal awakened in her stance. The aliens suddenly realized they were no longer looking at a small, harmless human. They were facing something their species had forgotten in their centuries of civilized warfare: a predator. "You want to know what makes humans special?" Elena asked, her voice carrying a new edge. "It's not our technology. It's not our size or strength. It's that we are the only species in this galaxy that evolved from persistence hunters. While you all evolved from prey animals, we spent millions of years chasing our food until it collapsed from exhaustion." She began walking toward the gallery, and instinctively, the massive alien representatives took steps backward. "We don't give up. We don't surrender. We don't stop. And when you hurt us, when you kill our families, when you threaten our species..." Elena's smile widened, showing teeth that suddenly seemed very sharp. "We don't get scared, we get hungry." The Council chamber erupted in panicked chittering, mechanical whirring, and telepathic static as the aliens realized their mistake. They hadn't been testing a primitive species for worthiness. They had been poking a sleeping apex predator with a stick. "The human species," Elena announced, her voice cutting through the chaos, "formally accepts membership in the Galactic Council. We'll be taking our seat now." As security forces moved to restrain her, Elena laughed, a sound that would haunt alien nightmares for generations to come. The small human they expected to fail had not just passed their trials. She had revealed the monster that lived within her species' DNA, the evolutionary legacy of the only sapient predators in the known galaxy. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.